Welcome to another Backstage with the Miskatonic Playhouse. And tonight we have with us Hedge, our backstage manager, and we're going to be talking about reflections and projections. Hedge, it's been a year. What have we done?
What have we done? So a year ago, you got into a conversation with our producer Stu about actual plays of Miskatonic repository scenarios. And a whole bunch of people got together on Discord server and started talking about it. And then a few months later, we actually began running actual plays and then publishing actual plays. And at that point in time, we sort of, as a group, agreed we'd try and publish 5 or 6 and then come back and talk about it and see how we were going. That took a year because there were all sorts of things that we didn't know about publishing actual plays. But in our first year, we've published 6 different main stage productions, as well as a whole bunch of backstage productions, a whole bunch of one-offs. You started working directly with Chaosium on Regency Cthulhu for your Cult and Culpability run. And we've had a lot of fun, and we've produced an awful lot of content, which I think we're really happy with.
For me, one of the biggest things, just on that summary, it's firstly, I'd like to think, community minded. There's one thing, which is we've just been so, I think, out there in the community, and one of the most encouraging things is listening to some of our pals like Bridget Jeffries just kind of encourages, and Heinrich Moore, and just kind of say, wow, you guys hit the ground running and you didn't bloody stop. You've been out there, you've become a resource, you've become a known quantity, and you've been able to really kind of like speak to the community, which I think was our initial goal. But also, as you say, with working with Chaosium on things like Cult and Culpability, we've just had so many people across the spectrum, right up from the wonderful Mike Mason, the creative director of Chaosium, all the way through to mere mortals like me and you, Hedge, just kind of getting involved and just being a part of these productions, which I think just goes to show what this community can be and what it can achieve.
Yeah, it was the sort of thing where we kind of wanted to create a space, and it was a place where an awful lot of people ran in and went, hey, I have this great idea. Can I share it with you? And so it was 12 people who were incredibly keen, basically all going, here's an idea at once. And of course, since then, it's sort of settled down. There's a core team who are making the podcast, as well as a whole bunch of other people who are involved in a variety of different ways. But the joy of the entire experience for us has been that we really are just people who are passionate about playing games and passionate about creating things, getting to create things for fun. So I think it's been a really good year.
Yeah, I think that, Joe, what you said there, yeah, of course we're here because we love creating the games. We're a part of we celebrate the Miskatonic repository through the Playhouse, but also I think you're right. I think our little team, we just love creating, and I think we've found a lovely balance where I think there's 2 things that are lovely balance, and I think they've become relevant. One is we all, I think, offer a different set of skills, which is lovely, and therefore we kind of really value each other, because I know there are huge skill gaps for me where Hedge steps in, Cosmic, Pete, Stu, other members of the team will step in because I can't do those things, which is amazing. But I think the other lovely thing that we've kind of evolved as a team is when someone goes, "Oi, Newman, that thing that needs to be done," and I'm like, "Oh, all right, okay." And then likewise, if I'm nudging someone, there is a we do it because it's a huge passion project. We love it, but I think because we're all in it for the same reasons, we kind of appreciate and tolerate each other.
Yeah. And actually, it's really interesting because when we do have those discussions, 2 distinct goals kind of come out. One is a desire to be better. Pretty much everyone involved in the project would like to be better at running games, playing games, creating podcasts, and doing all the other bits around creating communities. So personally, actually, I don't know if I've ever really talked about this that much before, but my actual personal passion is in community generation. I really like understanding how communities work, why they work, which communities work and which communities don't work, and creating spaces where people want to hang out. If you want to talk about this in a slightly more academic phrase, it's often called the third space. The space is the place that you go when you want to just exist. I love generating those. So a lot of the work I've done with the Playhouse has been bringing people together and then effectively giving them permission to do stuff they want to do. And that's been really fulfilling.
And I think, just going back to those individual skills of the team, this is something that Hedge knows a lot about personally, business wise, career wise. Is very successful at this, very good at this. So obviously, Hedge brings that to the table. Yeah, you are. Come on, let's be generous. You are. You are. And then obviously, as we said, other people with other skills, they're bringing in filling those gaps. So that is a huge strength of what we've got, is that we've got people with skills who want to create and contribute. And as I said, if I know we've mentioned a few people already, but we have been so lucky at joining a community that already wants to have community focus. The Call of Cthulhu community, whether it's the Miskatonic repository or the wider Cthulhu community, role-playing community, people want to share. They want to talk about games. They want to talk about making monsters. They want to talk about videos, streams. They want to talk about how we can build things, break things. It's such an amazing group. So very lucky to find ourselves in this particular pond.
Yeah, which kind of brings me back to this idea of the two things we want. The first is to be better. The second is we want to give to the community. And what that means for Miskatonic Playhouse is we want to run as many different actual plays as possible and get them out there to be listened to. So that leads to what we're going to do next. It's become really clear through this first year of us doing stuff that we have two things we want to do. One is create amazing things. We want to push the boundaries of what we can do as sort of amateurs creating stuff for fun. And we want to create really good stuff that's enjoyable to listen to. And actually, let's be very clear about this. It's not actually that easy to make an actual play really, really enjoyable to listen to. Actual plays have lots of pauses in them. They have people checking over rules. They have people umming and ahhing. It's not simple to just take someone playing a game and turn it into an enjoyable listening experience. And we've had to learn from that. So we have to learn that the keeper can't talk too much and needs to pass it to the players. The players need to speak in character. There needs to be good effort put into create the ambience afterwards with things like after effects and music, and really creating something people want to listen to. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and create about 4 or 5 shows every year that really are fantastic, that are really high quality, really well produced shows. But if we only produce 4 or 5 shows a year, we're not really serving the community in our attempts to create as many actual plays as possible. So we're going to have a second stream. The main feed is going to be us creating high quality stuff.
And that's where we've seen things like the Dragon of Wantley, we've seen Yellow Death, we've seen Secret Santa, Prisoner's Dilemma, and
Alpaca
in the Sheepfield. One of our crowns in the jewel, a fan favorite, I believe.
Yes, weirdly, my odd weird scenario, which is mostly just a beginner's silly thing, has become a bit of a cult classic. But that's how the world works. So we're going to now create 2 feeds, the main feed and the matinee feed. And so what's going to change with Miskatonic Playhouse is instead of having a regular production schedule, we're going to have these big shows 4 or 5 times a year, and we'll let you know when they're happening well in advance. But we're also going to be releasing full-length actual play scenarios, which have had a lot less work done to them, but are still good listening experiences. And the real aim here is to create things for those who love listening to raw actual plays. They will be raw actual plays, so you can enjoy them. You can put them on however you want to listen to them. And for those who want to listen to scenarios be run that you are interested in, we're trying to create a resource that is valuable. So if you go, I'm not sure about this Miskatonic repository scenario, should I buy it or not? We'll run an actual play. You can listen to it and make up your own mind.
And we've got out there already a fantastic scenario, Saturday the 14th, which was our first matinee of this. And as a listening experience, as an experience to kind of listen to a game, how does it play? How can you run this? It's fantastic. I mean, I can say this because I was a player in it, so I'm not kind of patting my back on it and going, look at me as the keeper. But a certain someone was the keeper of it over here, but as an experience to go, I want to play Saturday the 14th. I've read the book. I want to kind of get a sense of how it's played. Listening to that is amazing. And for me, I'm a very visual person. I'm a very audio person. Sometimes if I'm reading and reading and reading, I can find it difficult, not difficult, but I suppose challenging to bring that all off the page. So it's really exciting to have this as a resource.
Yeah. Which is the main plan, but actually we are going to be producing a third feed as well, which we should probably talk about as well, because this is our new project, which is going to be called Friends of the Playhouse. Unsurprisingly, for anyone who has listened to any actual play or any show ever, we do want to have a way to let people give us money if they want to support the show. All of this is being done by amateurs for fun, and we are enjoying ourselves. And even though that's true, there are expenses associated with creating a podcast. There are expenses associated with the website. There are expenses associated with all of the material we want to create. We want to be able to create stuff. And so we'd like to raise a little bit of money to do that. And what we're interested in doing is creating a model that is really beneficial to the artists that create content for us, but that also adequately pays all of the people who do all of the work. Now, we're not going to be making salaries out of this anytime soon, but it is nice to have a small amount of income base that says to people, hey, you are valued. So if we bring someone in to run a show for us, we can say, hey, here's a little bit of money. Thank you. I think it just creates a space where professionals feel like they're being treated well. And also it lets those who listen to the show give back to those who are creating and investing. The third one is going to be called our Fringe feed. And if you become a friend of the Playhouse, which can cost as little as £1 per month, you can get access to the Fringe feed shows and you can listen along to these things. And what we'll do is we'll release them, let people listen to them, and they're going to be a bit wackier. Whereas for the matinee feed, our aim is to produce really high quality actual plays so you know what the experience is. The Fringe is us having fun. So the first thing, the first two we're going to be releasing, the first one's called Alpaca on a Plane. It's my second one. We reassembled the team from Alpaca in the Sheepfield and we put them through my second scenario, which was hilarious fun.
Was a huge amount of fun, and thoroughly deserves to be in the bracket of this is wackier than usual.
Yeah. And then I tried to pull out all the stops and ran a fairly well-known Miskatonic repository scenario called The Great Trap. High pulp.
Very high.
And
pulp,
again, we had so much fun with that.
So much fun. Just, yeah. Joe, for me, it was I was almost ashamed to say this to Hedge and the rest of the team that played that, Rena and Cosmic. It was my first pulp game. I've read a lot of pulp and I've looked at a lot of pulp, but my circles have always kind of been in the traditional. And it was so much fun to run a game and get that pulp twist on it and just allow ourselves to take the crazy up a notch.
The joy of this, of course, is I dumped you in a game with two very experienced pulp players who ran roughshod all over you. And if you want to basically listen to Newman be bullied for 3 hours by three of his friends, you should listen to the Great Trap, because that's a nice way of putting what we did to him. Brilliant. Now, the next piece of all of this game that we're talking about right now is that we want to create space for people to create things. And the matinee is going to be this thing we create where people have their scenarios played by us. As part of that, we want to get many, many community members involved in the creation of that material, which led to one of our newest ideas, which is called the PPCA. The PPCA is the Playhouse Podcast Casting Agency. If you are interested, listener, in being involved, then you're welcome to put your name down in the Playhouse Podcast Casting Agency. And once we have room in one of our games and we're looking for people, we'll use that resource to try and bring more and more guests onto the podcast. Now, as part of that, we're really interested in finding diverse voices. We're looking for voices from all over the world. We're looking for people of different backgrounds, people of different genders, different races, different people playing Call of Cthulhu. We want to do that for a number of reasons. One is, quite simply put, it makes for better listening. If you can tell the difference between the voices, it's more pleasant experience. And two, we want to create a community that we want to be part of. and the communities we want to be part of are diverse communities. So we're looking for lots and lots of different people to come along and it to be a little bit less British on the Playhouse.
I
We're just
completely
looking
agree.
to dial the Britishness down just a little.
But also, this does absolutely chime with this idea of, this was the whole idea of the Playhouse. It was born out of community, and this is an opportunity where we're reaching out to the community and kind of saying, here's an opportunity. We'd love you to let us know you're interested, to come and be involved. Have a look at the casting. I want to call the document the podcast casting agency, but it's the Playhouse podcasting casting agency, the PPCA. Have a look at it, put your name down, and it's something that we'd love to be able to bring people into the game. So yeah, get involved.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we want.
I've already used it to recruit a few people for one of our Humanity games, and I will be using it more as we create more and more things because we want to have lots and lots of different people playing our games. And it also brings people away to get involved in the Playhouse. Again, the Playhouse is just a bunch of people who didn't know each other until we started chatting about this. And if you want to get involved, you're welcome to come and play with us because that's what it should be. That's how community works. If you feel interested in it, come and talk to us and put your name down and get involved and say you want to run things for us, say you have projects you're interested in, and we will hopefully go, yeah, brilliant, come get involved. Because at the end of the day, creating a podcast is a lot of hard work, and if you want to put some of that work in, we're open to letting you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's it's akin to what we've done with running some scenarios. The scenarios that get to be in whether it's a matinee, whether it's a main feed, it's people out there, part of the community, that are contacting and saying, hey, here's my scenario. Would you have a look at it? Do you think you could run it? We're not sitting there kind of looking through files here and picking things. It's community members that are getting in touch, and it's really lovely that they are able to do that. And it's the same thing about coming to play at the Playhouse.
Yeah, we should actually do this a quick one because transparency is really important when you get involved in projects like this. So over the course of the last few months, one of the changes we made was we codified the way in which we get submissions to us, how we treat them. So what we do is we put them through a ranking system. If they look like they'll be really good for the main stage, if they have lots of things about them that make them good for podcasting, then we're more likely to put them on the main stage. If they're good, but we don't think that they're the right kind of podcast they're the right kind of thing for a podcast, we put them in the matinee and fringe pile. And then if they're problematic for whatever reason, or there's an issue with them, we'll go back to the author, we'll actually talk to them about it. Because we want to provide feedback, we want to do a good job, we want to be open and honest with the community. But basically what we do is we go through a process where two people read it and give their opinions on it, and then we decide what to do with it. And we welcome people to send us their submissions, and we will read all of them. I think we've had somewhere in the region of 40 submissions so far, and we've marked up something like 35, 36. So we are getting through them. But as you can imagine, when you can only produce 6 shows in a year, those 40 submissions might take a while. But we're hoping with the new matinee structure that we can potentially move up to 15 or even 20 shows per year.
Yeah. And alongside these, the fantastic opportunities here, where we're talking about our community writing scenarios, community members getting involved as well. As Hedge mentioned earlier on, we have been quite lucky, having a bit of blessing from Chaosium, and we've had the opportunity to create the Regency, which is the long form kind of running production, which we've been trying to show with that the wider Chaosium community, not just Miskatonic repository, is very much at our fingertips as well, and they are so welcoming and open. So from the amazing Lynn Hardy to Mike Mason, to another special so-and-so guest who I won't mention yet, who's appearing in the season finale of season 2.
So terrible.
I'm so terrible, but we are, I think, as a community, and we have to recognize, that Chaosium team, they absolutely love the community that is Miskatonic repository. They're really generous and caring towards the Miskatonic Playhouse and championing what we're doing. So to get involved and be a bigger part of this community, or just spend some more time with the community, the Playhouse is here for you.
I think one of the really lovely things about working with Chaosium is that it's a large enough organization that it has money to spend on investing in its community, but it's a small enough organization that you can literally talk to the people in the organization because they have enough time and they want to talk to you, which makes it a fantastic thing for budding amateurs who want to write, who want to test their skills, who want to become really good players, because you can literally just go and talk to these people. They turn up in our Discord all the time and they chat to us. That's a really amazing thing that you don't get with a lot of other RPGs and companies and other places. It is special. And I, for one, think it's one of my favorite things about working in the Call of Cthulhu space.
And that mindset, though, it has very much allowed the Playhouse to become what it is. It's allowed us to kind of dabble in this territory and create the Playhouse. You know, from there, you know, we've made some great friends as well in other podcasts. We absolutely champion other podcasts. You know, we've got Symphony Entertainment with Bridget. We've got friends over
Ain't Slave Nobody.
Ain't Slave Nobody, who we absolutely champion. Amazing work they're doing over there. But we're also really lucky that we've had the Miskatonic Repository Con, where the Playhouse has been asked to speak a number of times now as one of the hosts, one of the speakers. And we've also had the Illusion Horror Con as well, where we've been invited to speak and share panels with Seth Skorowski and lots of people that invented the cult RPG. So even though it's within the Call of Cthulhu realm, there's a lovely crossover and beginning emergence within the horror gaming community. So it's a fantastic opportunity. And I think now there's a bubble within this community where people are celebrating what this is. So if there was an opportunity, if there was a time to throw your hat in the ring and have a look at the PPCA, or just get in touch with us, join the Discord, have a chat, get to know us a bit, now's the time.
Yeah, and that actually leads us on to the final point I want to make in this chat, which is about speaking to us. The way that Regency came about is that it turned out that a large portion of people involved in the Miskatonic Playhouse were passionate about the Regency era. And when they got the opportunity to create a podcast surrounding Call of Cthulhu Regency, they jumped at the chance and they created something really, really special. And actually, it was so special that at Miskatonic Playhouse, we'd love to do that again in some form. So if you have the idea for a small short form podcast that you would like to create about some aspect of, it could be Call of Cthulhu campaigns, it could be Rivers of London, it could be RuneQuest, it could be any of the Chaosium products, it could be something even more off the wall that you're incredibly passionate about. If you want to create something short form, come and talk to us. Our rules are that if we can assist you, if we can show you the ropes on how to create a podcast, but you can drive it because you're passionate about it, we're happy to provide you with all the support that you'll need to turn that into something really, really special. Sometimes it works, sometimes it won't. We might be the right person. But if you're the sort of person for whom you want to step a little bit beyond amateur, but you're not quite at professional yet, that's the space that Miskatonic Playhouse is playing in, and we invite you to come and play with us.
I think that's a lovely sentiment. We invite you to come and play with us. Absolutely. I suppose the big thing to take away from this is, how do you get in touch with us?
Yeah, so miskatonicplayhouse.com is our website. If you go there, you'll discover that we mostly communicate via Discord. You can join our Discord and come, and hopefully you'll become one of our great sacrifices. If you'd rather, you can become a friend of the Playhouse and support us. To do that, you just go to ko-fi.com/playhouse, ko-fi.com/Miskatonic Playhouse, or just go to the website and there'll be a link there. And then you can also get in contact with us on almost any platform. I believe, Newman, that you do most of this.
Yeah, so you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Hive, Mastodon, Instagram, NASA. Pretty sure.
Is that the space?
Pretty sure we're sponsored by
already lost.
NASA now. Yeah, you can pretty much find us anywhere. And if we're not there, let us know and say, "Hey, Miskatonic Playhouse, are you going to be here?" And within about 5 minutes, we will be.
That's how we work. We're not claiming to be very good at all those social media Discords. And at some point, I do need to have a discussion with you about social media strategy. But let's just leave all that for now. Come and talk to us. Come and get involved. Tell us your ideas. We'll listen. Just drop us a direct message if you want. We would love to play more games.
Yeah. And we'd like to play with you.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much for joining us. And If you'd like to see us, check on YouTube now, see what we've got latest up. And I think the usual sign off for us, those of you that are listening, is until next time, when we pull back the curtain and roll the dice. As we draw the curtain on tonight's performance, we thank you for joining us and look forward to inviting you back to the Miskatonic Playhouse. In the meantime, you can also find us in the links below. And if you'd like to submit your scenario for us to play, email miskatonicplayhouse@gmail.com.